Okay, organic marketing. As a business founder, you're going to want to generate as much credibility for your brand as possible. You want people to recognize that other people like your brand, are using it, that it's being accepted by the general public. Traditionally, this was achieved through very direct word of mouth, either in the kitchen or at the cookout or in the office. This is where people used to say, hey, you should check out this product, this new brand of shoes, this new brand of food, this new car that I just bought is really great, I'm really glad to own it. And then everyone that they tell about it suddenly is more inclined to believe it's a legitimate brand. It's something that they should welcome into their own lives. Even better, it's something that they want, that they wish they had, that their life would be better if they had it. Today, in the modern world, we have social media. When you get followers or likes or comments on your material that you post, it shows people that the general public is beginning to accept you. When they read those comments and they say, this is a great product, I like it, it takes a split second for the person who reads that comment to decide, do I agree? What do I think of the person making the comment? If 1,000 people are making the comment, that becomes irrelevant. Now it just becomes, it must be true. And so organic marketing is different than paid marketing. Paid marketing means you put the thing in front of their face on purpose. They know it. They know you paid for it. That's okay. There's still going to be comments there. There's still going to be some likes, and so that gives you some social proof. And the fact that you actually developed a consistent marketing strategy and a consistent presentation and message across your platforms, like we've talked about in the branding section, is also very important. The fact that you developed a brand. And then, the fact that you developed a coherent marketing campaign says something also to the customer. But there's nothing more personal than other individuals who you like or who you trust, or even better, who you look up to, saying, you know what, this is a good thing for me. I use it, I'm happy to use it. Not, you should use it too. It's just a pure testimonial. It adds legitimacy to your brand. An even more direct way, and even, I'm not sure it's more high level than comments and likes, but it's a new way to add depth to your organic marketing experience or your organic marketing campaign, is to have influencers who are high status individuals showing their group of followers, their public, that they like what your brand is. When a fitness model wears a new brand of fitness clothing, he or she may also say, yeah, this is a paid sponsored endorsement. But you still assume that they have, to a certain extent, adopted the product for themselves. Maybe they're wearing some clothes. And yes, it's a paid endorsement. Maybe or maybe not, the influencer divulges that to the following base. However, you also assume that now they own this thing. They own it and they're going to be using it in their own life, and I want to be like them. That's why you follow them. You admire them, or you like them, or you think that they're interesting. You at least think of them as some kind of friend. And so it's very influential to have a high status individual demonstrate your product. Another way you can do it is to do such a thing as trading shout outs. Hey, I'll shout out your product to my base if you shout out my product to your base. One thing that really makes this work is to have a similar number of followers. So perhaps your product page or your community that of course you want to set up in conjunction with your brand is about 40,000 followers strong. And so you will go on social media, let's say Instagram, of course, and say to another Instagram community organizer, another Instagram community leader who also has a similar number of shout outs. Because if they have 1 million and you have 40,000, they may say, well, you got to do 10 posts for every 1 post that I do. And so that is a decision you have to make. Probably I wouldn't go that way. I would go with an equal number. because you want to keep your content delivery fresh as well. If you're just hammering out responses to your base, just throwing out shout outs to your base in hopes of equaling a larger community, it's going to become stale to your base. I don't think the larger community would want that anyways. Maybe 3 could be your limit, 3 in the course of a week or 2 weeks or 3 weeks, once a week maybe. You can do a shout out. Maybe you could do 10 shout outs from 10 different communities that each have an equal number of yours. That way it's fresh and it's interesting content, even though it's an endorsement of somebody else. And they're doing the same thing for you. So suddenly, if you do 10 for 40,000 each, that's 400,000 people, some of which already probably follow you, but potentially a max total of 400,000 people who are saying to you, hello, for the first time. The truth about organic social media work is actually the same thing about social media optimization. The principles are pretty much the same. Relevance, response, how engaged is your community? How engaged can you keep them? There's things you can do to keep your community more engaged. It's more than just posting memes and quotes and taking pictures of your product or taking pictures of products and showing it to them. That's interesting some of the time. But then you can also do things like, hey, I have a question. What do you think of this thing about the industry? Or what do you think of this? Or what do you think of that? And it calls them to respond. Or have a survey. Which do you think is better, A, B, or C? I'm sure you've seen it. And in the comments, people are like, B, and other people are like, C. And then, you know, it's sort of a war or a contest to see how many people like the same letter or the same option as you do. So it's fun. It's more interesting. It pulls them in. But when you think about it in terms of relevance, the same way you think about it when you're doing search engine optimization, the pieces sort of begin to fall into place. You know, there's some steps that you can go through to think it through and to execute. The first step is you want your social media goals to align with your business objectives. So you want to use the SMART acronym system to help you kind of remember what you want to do or how you want to view potential content or how you want to think about planning your content. Because remember, if you have a community, and even if occasionally you're adding spur-of-the-moment content into the mix, you really do want to plan your content over the course of a year. It'll save you a tremendous amount of time. Saying in January 1 that you want to plan 365 days of content, 3 or 4 posts a day, it may take you a week to finish, but then you won't have to do it anymore. And the criteria you want to think about in deciding what goes in and what doesn't, aside from just mixing it up and not making it stale, you want to make it interesting, of course, but you want to follow the SMART system. And what that is the first one is S, and that is specific. You want it to be specific to your goals. What are my goals? This specifically addresses my goals. Either it's a question or a survey or a product endorsement. Occasionally, maybe you mix it up a little bit by if you have a running community. Maybe, of course, you're talking about future events and past events, but also maybe do a small post about a famous runner. But of course, it doesn't necessarily offer something specific about your brand, but it adds legitimacy to your community. But you want to be as specific as you can, especially when you're offering brand-specific posting. And so then the comments and likes you receive in response to that specific post is something you can measure. And that's what the M is actually in the SMART system, is measurable. So you have a specific post, and you compare it to other specific posts. You split test them. 4 different specific posts. One is maybe this color, this color, this color, or this color of our product. And you post all 4 of them. Maybe in a short period of time close together, or maybe you choose to spread it out. It depends on how you want to judge it later. But then you look at the 4 posts, and this one got noticeably more likes. Well, obviously, maybe not so obviously, but it's a good probability that they like this color better. And so maybe that should be your flagship. Maybe that's the one that should go on your promotions going forward. And then maybe you can test 4 different filters or 4 different slogans or 4 different locations for photographing this product, captions, time of day posting. All of these things are things you can measure. And then you want it to be actionable. So you found out the information you wanted from this specific measurable post. Now, if you don't have a plan for how you're going to take action based on the results, so like I said, with a color, you figured out that this is the color that people seem to like best. I got way more comments and way more posts, more hearts, more positive comments. Then you can take action based on that understanding. And of course, that's relevant. You want it to be relevant. You want it to be relevant to your brand, not which runner do you like better. I mean, there may be a time for that in terms of building community engagement with your user base, legitimacy across your community. But in terms of promoting your brand specifically, which won't be every post you put out, but in terms of promoting your brand specifically, you want it to be as relevant as possible. Is it relevant to products that you're offering now? Is it relevant to an event that you have coming up soon? Is it relevant to a new photography campaign that you want? So what do you want to get out of it? What is it? How is it relevant to you? And understanding that ahead of time will help you sort of pinpoint the results that you're looking for. And then the last one is time-bound. Can I put this in different time periods? Is it relevant to now? Will it be relevant in a year? Is there a way that I can change it to test it again in a year? Maybe we'll test the same colors again with a new updated design a little bit later. And if we get the same response about color, that really tells you something, that this color is easily everyone's favorite. You know, over time, your sales will also tell you this. It'll tell you what people's favorite is, because nothing says this is my favorite like what you choose to buy. Okay, so the second step of developing your organic marketing campaign is to learn everything you can about your audience. You know, go through your follower list and look at the people. Look at what they look like. Look at their age. Look at their demographic. You want to kind of create a persona of the kind of people that you think are following you. What is their profession? What is their interest? Try to profile them. This isn't such a great thing to do in politics, and of course, in the world, we talk a lot about profiling as sort of being a negative, biased thing. But in terms of your marketing, it's actually a service to your customer, because they don't want to see things that aren't right for them. They want to see things that are right for them. They want to be targeted properly. In my newsfeed, when I see advertisements that are relevant to me, I'm a little bit happy to see them. When I see advertisements that are just totally not relevant to me, you know, a weight loss supplement where I'm not really interested in losing weight, or a fitness supplement that isn't right for me, or a fitness program, or lessons that I'm not interested in taking, or food that I just don't like. I personally don't like tomatoes or mushrooms. So if you're going to advertise a mushroom dish to me or a mushroom recipe, I'm the wrong one. You should have profiled away from me. I don't know how you would do it in terms of mushrooms, but you see the point. So, you know, it's real-world data. It's actionable data. So then the third step, now that you've sort of profiled who your potential customer is, or who in your follower base is most responsive to what you're doing now, you want to research your competition. A competitive analysis. Who are they? What similar products do they have to yours? How are they doing social media? Since we're talking about organic marketing, how are they doing it? I think you can copy them. Their good idea is your good idea. Maybe you don't want to copy their products, but you probably should consider thinking about how they engage, especially if they're a bigger brand. You know, they probably have professionals that are are working diligently to set up content for them, who know these principles already also. And you have to compete against them, and you can get a lot of good ideas from watching them. What are their customers saying about them to them? That's a great thing about social media. You can know what their survey information is because their comments are visible. And they want their comments to be visible. And unfortunately, so do you. You want your comments to be visible because of social proof, but that also gives your competition a leg up. It's like filming the opposing team's practice in a football game. You see the moves and the maneuvers and the plays that they're going to make. But at the same time, maybe that team wants to show these things to their audience because it makes people want to buy tickets to their game. So then you want to conduct a social media audit. That's the fourth step of organic marketing. Conduct a social media audit. And that's really being honest about yourself. I think a big part of business, especially the startup process, is exercise in psychology. You know, how closely can you look at yourself? When you look in the mirror, are you honest about what you're seeing? Can you say, I made this mistake, this wasn't right? Do you have to be right? Can you let go of this need to be right, to be correct all the time? So examine your current efforts. What's working, and yes, what's not? Who is connecting with you on social media? Is it the people that you want? Is it everyone that you want? Yes, I'm so happy to be getting young college people, but what about young professionals? Have I done enough to reach out to them, to speak to what they want? Am I sacrificing something to reach out to this new demographic by devoting new content to it? You know, and then, you know, which networks does your target market use? Does your target audience use? If you want to target young men, YouTube is a little bit better of a choice than, for instance, Pinterest. If you want to target women, almost any social network is okay because it seems that women like to use all different aspects of social media a little bit better. So let's stay away from gender. Let's talk about profession. If you want to target journalists, as we've talked about other places in this course, Twitter is obviously your best bet because journalists just live and die by Twitter. If you want to target photographers, then obviously Instagram. And so it comes back to, it's part of the branding process, it's part of your general social media understanding, and it's also part of your organic marketing truth. So compare your social media to that of your competitors. Step 5 is to set up accounts and improve existing profiles. So just never be satisfied. What you did yesterday is gone. You don't have to go back and delete posts or change posts from the past. Just step up your posts now. What you've done in the past did what it did. Very few people are going back into your history on social media, at least very few people that you care about, unless you made some mistake in your messaging, like a real mistake. But you know, stay away from profiling language altogether. It helps you in your market analysis. It does not help you in your messaging. So, you know, have your profiles developed. Plan your content. Look at the content that you have planned and always be thinking about how you can improve it. Would you like to change some of the wording? Would you like to change some of the colors? Change some of the pictures? Maybe you have a way of making your post more uniform according to, you know, the color that you want to put forth. Maybe a new filter came out or a new application that allows you to filter your content so you can go back through it. I think messaging is the most important thing, though. Think about what you really want to say. I want to say logo or this motto or this slogan. I want to say these details about our product. Oh, I forgot to say it. I better find a way to add it into my planned content. And then, you know, you're always going to be looking for ways to find inspiration, and that's our 6th step. It's find inspiration wherever you can. Your competitors will inspire you more than anybody else, I dare to say. Industry leaders, social media leaders, there are types of social media participants that are interested in just staying on the cutting edge of social media. They want to demonstrate the best way to do stories, the best way to do post, the best way to do a live feed. And usually they're people who run their own media company. So that's part of their branding experience, is to demonstrate for you the cutting edge of social media delivery. Some people who are really into this is Gary Vee, of course, or I would say Ty Lopez, even though he is more nuts and bolts of business and life performance. But think about people who are media aficionados and follow them. And in a way, they're competition too, but they're more almost like a shaman, like a thought leader. We talk about them more in our business community section at the end of this course, so maybe you should look into that. So the final step is social media calendar. You want to plan your posts. You want to understand generally what day you want to post things on. On Wednesdays, we post memes. But the biggest point is there's no real such thing as overposting, because some posts get deprioritized by the algorithm of the social network you're working with, and some will just get prioritized just because you happen to get the right response in the right timing, and so you go right to the top. For instance, videos get prioritized and get a lot more response than just memes or photos. If you ask a question or elicit audience response, that'll get more response. If you get more likes, you're much more likely to go to the top of your followers' news feeds. But there's no such thing as overposting, especially if you're doing a good job with it. If you're doing consistent content and a consistent brand message and a planned, coherent thought stream that goes into the content that you post. Evergreen content. You don't just want to repost other people's stuff. You want to create your own. You want to get good at putting words on pictures. You want to be good at turning on your camera and recording yourself and then editing it down fast and putting words on the screen. There's applications, many of which cost almost nothing, that can do a pretty good job of this. All of it's in the hopes of maximizing your organic potential. And some parameters that you want to think about in terms of profiling your specific, your intended followers or your intended audience or the kind of customers you're trying to bring in or seduce. You want to think about their gender. Men and women are spoken to in a little bit different voice. Relationship to you, relationship to each other. Are they a child? Are they a parent? Are they a brother and a sister? Are they married? Are they not married? Are they, what is their relationship to society? Their status, are they high earners? Are they just getting out of school? Some people have different emotional frameworks. Are you targeting people who are unhappy? Are you targeting people who are very happy? This is one way to think about their educational level. Have they graduated high school? Are they teenagers? They have a certain vocabulary. Are they adults? Are they working professionals, middle age? So they'll have a certain amount of combination of wisdom and energy and money. Are they older? Which means they have more time to think about what you're doing and more wisdom. Think about that and measure based on that. Age, location, where are they from? What language do they speak? What is the values of their region? You might target somebody in California differently than you would target somebody in Illinois or Massachusetts or Florida. You could split test for that, especially with paid marketing. Organic is a little bit more, to all of your followers at once, but you got to think about what is the purpose of the content at that moment. What are their interests? Well, obviously they're interested in your community and your brand, or they wouldn't be following you already. So that helps. It helps to know that. Post and date. When did you post? What time of day? What date? What day of the week? All of these things matter. And these same type of options are relevant with Twitter. These same type of options are relevant with any social media. If you're doing paid advertising, Twitter and Facebook have a lot of the same options. You can really target your intended customer. So take an opportunity to really think it through, to plan your content and use it. If you wait until non-peak hours to post, you're less likely to get drowned out in all of the noise. I have a mixed response about this because it is true. A lot of people want to post when most people are watching, but everyone's doing that. So actually posting in non-peak hours allows you to get that top of the newsfeed view, allows you to generate some momentum of likes and comments from the people that are online at that time, and then it gives you the leg up on your competition because you'll be prioritized by the algorithm when you go into peak hours, 10, 12, 6 hours later. The best time you should be posting, I think, non-peak hours is on Facebook, is on Thursdays or Fridays between 1 p.m. and 3 p.m. On Twitter, it's weekdays between 12 p.m. and 6 p.m., so after lunch. And on LinkedIn, it's Tuesdays to Thursdays. That just has to do with how the professional life cycle goes. Early in the morning, 7 a.m. to 8 a.m. before they get to work, or 5 p.m. to 6 p.m. after they get out of work. And most people don't think about that. You know, if you're on LinkedIn, you think I should post at 11 a.m. because that's when everyone's in work. Well, you're going to be drowned out because everyone is doing it at that time. And it gives you no opportunity to build momentum. Building momentum seems to be very important in the modern social media, modern social network. So you want to plot your content mix. 50% should drive traffic back to your blog or drive traffic to your brand directly. 25% should be curated from other sources. So you want to demonstrate that you're plugged into the world around you. And this is where trading shout-outs is a real advantage because you want to do it anyways. So getting on your game to reach out to other communities before you just go ahead and recklessly share their content. I mean, you can do it. You can say, I like this post, bang, shared. Look how legitimate I am in the community. However, I think if you talk to them first, you can get them to do the same thing for you. That's where the value comes in. 20% of your content will support your enterprise goals. So it's direct selling. Gary Vee has this expression called jab, jab, right hook. And what that means is, a lot of it is just interested community building, points of interest for the customer, and then maybe 1/5 of the time it is look at what we're selling, look at what we're doing, buy into this product. And then 5% should be about the culture of your company. Take photographs at conferences. Take photographs of yourself working in the middle of developing a product. You could say, look at this product we're developing, and show yourself with your team over a table, holding it, or cutting some material, or talking to other professionals about something specific. It demonstrates your company culture. And maybe once in a while say, you know what, we really appreciate this employee. Look at this person. It goes on your social media and it shows the public that you are a team. So you want to place different types of material in your stream. So you don't just want to have 10 memes back to back. You want to have a meme and then maybe a content photo, or then a video about something, or what happened last week, or this is what's happening next week, or a quote, or something like this. You want to just mix up the way that the type of content that you put out in consecutive order. It just makes things fresh, more interesting, because sometimes people will scroll down their news feed and they will see all of the posts that you did in a single day. And so you want to plan for that. stick to the percentage mix-up that we just talked about. 80% of your posts should inform, educate, or entertain, and 20% should directly promote your brand. We kind of already said that, but it's an easier rule of thumb. You could also try the social media rule of thirds. 1/3 of your social media promotes your business, converts readers, and generates profit. 1/3 shares ideas and stories from thought leaders in your industry or like-minded businesses, and 1/3 of your social content involves personal interactions with your audience. So you want to show yourself in the public. Personal interactions probably include survey work and question work and contests, sort of make it a little bit more interesting. There's two additional steps, two final steps that I wanted to mention to organic marketing. The 8th step, I guess, is interact with and engage with your followers. Promote your profiles everywhere, cross-promote across platforms. So it is the same as keeping a consistent message. But you can talk about your YouTube channel in your Facebook, and you can talk about your Facebook and Instagram in your YouTube, and Twitter is a really great place to talk about everything. And then, the 9th one is just evaluate and test and measure and, adjust your strategy. Be willing to adjust. In fact, be ready to celebrate adjustments that you can make. And so then you'll be on track, and you'll build something for free that traditionally was almost impossible to build for free. And that is trust, and that is responsiveness, and that is legitimacy, and the real word for it is social proof. So get to posting.